class 1. Note that's not a class 2 or class 3, so you don't owe a deductible on it. It's just free. No deductible, no percentage. If you have an exam, cleanings, or x-rays every 6 months, it's free if you stay in network. All right? Sealants. It's also a class 1 and is free. Who has kids that are going to put on the dental between 3 and 9 years old? I would highly recommend sealing their teeth. Highly recommend. The baby teeth are very weak, and children's permanent teeth that come in are very weak. So they're much more susceptible to cavities than our teeth as adults. So what you want to do is they put a little epoxy layer on their teeth that prevents the sugar or whatever from getting in there, and it prevents you from having to fill those teeth later, especially if their baby teeth are going to fall out anyways. All right? So it's free. Okay? They're no deductible. It's just free. And that would be a good preventative for you. Line number 5, fillings. White fillings on the front teeth only. Okay? That's what they pay for. They will not pay for white fillings in the back. They will pay for silvers in the back, and you have to pay the difference between the silvers and the whites. That's the way it is. Dental companies are doing it all over the place. The reason why is because the ADA still says that silvers are better. So the insurance companies are saying, I'm not paying for whites. Whites have a shelf life of 5 to 10 years. I still have silvers in my mouth from like 20 years ago. So they're still saying, ADA says silvers are better, insurance companies are saying, we're not paying for it. But they do say aesthetically they'll pay for whites in the front. All right? That's a class 2. So you owe a deductible, but it's still 0%. So it's $50. And if you have 6 fillings, it's $150. Root canals, periodontal, and oral surgery, $50 deductible, 0.
Nice.
I know. It is nice. I'm a little scared because people are going to use this plan a lot. I'm not scared for the insurance company. I'm scared about a rate increase. But you know what? That's why we're doing this in-network instead of out-of-network. I'll explain it in a second. There's a strategic plan to this, like collectively. All right? It's really good. Root canals for free. I mean, who gets that, right? Crowns, inlays, onlays, bridges, dentures. That's a class 3, so you owe a deductible. You have to pay 50% of it. Okay? Then orthodontia is a lifetime benefit. Class 4. Okay? So it's 50%. You don't owe a deductible. It's 50%, and they're going to give you $1,500. Now, note that that's a lifetime benefit. So this 50, it's only for children, okay? And you get one $1,500 per kit for the braces. It's 50%. This $1,500 and this $1,500 are different. This is $1,500 every year for general dentistry. This is $1,500 for ortho, for children, okay? So keep in mind that those are all your in-network benefits. Out-of-network, you're just going to pay more. It's 20% and 50%. And I'll give you an example too, because it's kind of a striking example. How much do you guys think a crown costs if you didn't have insurance and you just had to pay out of pocket? $900. $900 is low. Anybody else? I mean, you can probably get away with it.
$1,100.
Huh?
$1,200.
$1,200 is average. That's an average price for a crown. $900 is a good deal. $800 is as low as I've seen it. All right. $1,200 is an average. All right. In network, it's all negotiated. Okay. Guardian has went out to has signed up all their dentists and said, listen, we're not going to pay you what you want to get paid. We're going to pay you half what you want to get paid. So instead of $1,200, they're going to pay them $600. It's that dramatic. So out of that, you're going to pay 50% of $600. $300 plus 50. That's a $350 for a crown. Not bad for a crown. All right. Out of network, 50% of what?
$1,200.
Or whatever they want to charge. Could be. I've seen it up to $1,800, but that's ridiculous. But 50% of $1,200 is $600 plus $50. That's $650. So it seems like these are both 50%. So who cares, right? But that's not the case. It's a percentage of a lower amount in network. That's why we want to strategically steer everybody in network. We know that there's going to be a lot of utilization on this plan. We know it. We knew it going in there. But if we're going to have a lot of utilization, let's put it in network where our claims aren't so high, because they get all those discounts off the providers. So that's the goal. We'll see what happens next year. It's okay. All right. So we went over the dental. Now let's go back to the enrollment worksheet. Dental. Again, if you want to waive the coverage, you'll just circle waive. $363 for an employee, $911 for an employee spouse, $1287 for employee child or children, and $1836 for a family. Now, I want to note before, you only had a two-tier rate. You either did employee or you did family for everything, okay? Not the case anymore. Now we're breaking it down. It all kind of evens out. The family is actually going to be a little more than what you had before, but the spouse is actually, and child are going to be a little less. So it evens out. It's a four-tier rate instead of a two-tier rate is what they call it. It's a little more fair, I think, for who's using the plan. All right? So circle either the wave or one of those numbers and put it in the far right-hand box. Vision plan. Okay, from this point on, we're going to be going fast. Vision plan is still through Guardian, same website. You find your, again, following the same theme, network, out of network, okay? Routine exams, $10. Frames, $20. Lenses, $20. Single, bifocal, trifocal, lenticular. Polycarb for children only is 100%. Contact lenses in lieu of glasses is a $20 copay. All right, if you go in that, you have more benefits inside your Guardian packet if you want to learn more about it. This is a snapshot. Okay? And again, this is just for vision correction. So if you have a medical condition like glaucoma, you wouldn't use the vision benefit, you'd use the medical benefit. So this is just for eye correction. That's it. All right, so vision. You're going to waive it. $396 for an employee, $667 for an employee spouse, $680 for an employee child or children, and $1076 for a family. So we'll circle the waiver, one of those numbers, and put it in the far right-hand box. Next page, on the back of the blue sheet. Back of the blue sheet, we have an accident advance program, and we have a cancer select. I kind of alluded a little bit to it when I was talking about the medical. I'll take you right to the one I alluded to in the accident coverage. I think this is good for kids, because they're always hurting themselves. I think this is good for adventurous people, outdoorsy people, hikers, bikers, all of that stuff. If you're susceptible to accidents, it's a good plan to get. It's not expensive, and it pays a lot if you get into an accident. So, or relatively a lot. So as we go through, I just want to point you out to number 7, physical therapy. That was the one that we had the problem with. Remember the deductible co-insurance and the medical, and the gap didn't cover physical therapy. So you can get physical therapy covered here for an accident. So it covers for 10 times max, it'll cover it for $30. $30 per visit for 10 physical therapy visits. All right? Any doctor within 96 hours. Any doctor. What that means is any doctor. In an emergency room, urgent care, a regular doctor's office, any doctor. Okay? That's why I put any doctor, because it doesn't have to be anything. If you get into an accident and within 96 hours go visit any doctor, you're going to get a check for $250. Okay? Which more than even pays for probably a whole year's of what you're going to pay. Okay? Follow-up treatment, 3 times. They'll pay for 3 follow-ups at $30 for a doctor for an accident. CT scans, MRIs, EEGs will pay $400. Initial hospitalization, $150. Line 6, nose, ribs, finger fracture, will pay $700. It has a death benefit on line 8 of another $15,000 in addition to everything else. And then different size lacerations pays differently. And that again is just a snapshot of your benefits. There is so many more things it pays for, but I couldn't put it all on there. So see the brochure for more details. And the whole thing behind this is that it doesn't cost a lot. So accident benefit, you can either waive it here and cost you nothing, or it's $575 for an employee, $886 for an employee spouse, $812 for an employee child or children, and for a family it's $1157. Okay, let's move on to the cancer benefit. Cancer benefit I really like, and I've had a lot of people thank me on this. People that have gotten cancer, you get a very high payout. But this plan does not, just because you have cancer doesn't mean, if you don't have cancer, you're still going to use this benefit. If you don't have cancer, you're still going to use this benefit. I'll tell you why. We loaded up the wellness benefit. When we pick these plans, we can actually pick all the modules. We get to pick what the payouts are for all of these and adjust the costs accordingly. So the chemo benefit, we put at $10,000. We put a lot of benefits higher than lower. The wellness benefit, we put at the top. We put at the maximum payout. So, and it's kind of maybe too good to be true a little bit. If you have this cancer plan and you go to a wellness benefit anywhere, whether it be a doctor's office, you go get a mammogram, you go get a prostate check, any type of cancer check. Just make sure if you go to a doctor's office that they draw your blood and check for cancer. I mean, hopefully they would anyways. You're going to get a check for $150. Bottom line, if you get any type of cancer screening, we did that on purpose because we want people to get their physicals. We want people to get their wellness. We want to get it taken care of. Okay? So that's number one. The other, I put them in red, the ones I like most. Experimental is also things that Anthem doesn't cover. Okay? Because if you get cancer, Anthem's going to cover all your cancer treatments and stuff, but it won't cover anything that's experimental. Okay? Experimental things like homeopathic stuff and whatever, it won't cover that stuff. So this will pay up to $15,000 of actual charges for experimental. Hospital confinement, if you have cancer, it'll pay $300 a day for every day you're in the hospital. Radiation and chemo, we put this at the top level. It'll write you a check for $10,000. We had 2 people use it this year. And they called us and they thanked us because it really helped them with other expenses they had, like with their kids and just different things, situations they had going on. Chemo and radiation will pay $10 grand. Any surgeries, it'll pay you $3. I did the math for you here, just you may want to see it. We'll go over the payroll deduction amounts, but it's going to cost you about $285 a year pre-tax, because you're not paying taxes on it. We threw off about 25%. Is $213. You get 1 cancer screening. It's going to cost you about $63 a year. That's what it's going to cost you. All right. Cancer benefit is, if you want to waive it, circle waive. $11.88 for an employee, $21.96 for an employee spouse, $13.86 for an employee child or children, and $21.96 for a family. The reason why the $11.88 and for children is not that much more is because they don't expect children to get cancer. It's just usually in adults. And I was watching, I think it was last year, it was the one time where all the networks came together for the cancer. Did you remember that? ABC, CBS, NBC all came together on that same Lance Armstrong type stuff. The statistic is that 1 out of 3 people will get cancer in their lifetime, some form of cancer. You've seen it? Yeah. And it's pretty powerful. So this cancer benefit is yours forever. So basically, if you ever left Pizza Hut and went somewhere else, you can take the benefit with you and just pay for it forever. Just work directly with the insurance company. You'll get billed for it, and you just take it, and you'll have those payouts forever, and you'll have security in it. But again, if it's not for you, just waive it. Okay? Now let's talk about life, short-term disability, and long-term disability. Still on the back sheet. Again, we already talked about you get a $50,000 basic life coverage and accidental death and dismemberment. Has all kinds of different things in there that you want to look at the Guardian pamphlet to look at. You don't have to die, actually. You can actually lose a limb, lose a finger, lose this. It'll still pay out certain amounts for the accidental death and dismemberment policy. If you die accidentally, it'll pay you double, that type of thing. Okay? Pay your beneficiary double. Short-term and long-term disability, just to kind of go over those a little bit. Everybody here has a disability policy. Okay, short-term and long-term disability. So short-term disability, if you're disabled, the short-term disability after 30 days will pay you 60% of your income. The weekly max is $17.30, but everybody's, I think, under that, most people. 60% of your income or $17.30 a week, whichever is less. Goes for 9 weeks. What happens is if you exhaust short-term disability, you transfer into long-term disability. It's a separate policy. So you're going to be disabled for a while. Most maternity benefits are going to land right here. You're off on maternity, you're off on disability. Short-term disability, you come back to work. The people that are under a long-term disability situation are maybe going to be disabled for a while. Okay, so after